So unlike the 2019 season where Auburn had to open up against Oregon, Oregon obviously fighting for a Pac-12 championship, wanting to regain relevance, and plus that caused a lot of anxiety going into the 2019 season for the Tigers, who were coming into that season with a lot of questions to be answered. Brand new linebacker core, starting a true freshman quarterback. This year is a little bit different. Auburn starts their season off against Alcorn State out of the FCS and the SWAC conference. Now, Auburn is no stranger to playing teams in the SWAC conference, as they played Alabama A&M and they played Alabama State. But this year is a little bit different for the Tigers, as they're playing an Alcorn State team who is no stranger to championships. They have been pretty much a mainstay in the SWAC conference. You see, the SWAC conference is divided into two sub-conferences, and Alcorn State has been a power in those. Alcorn State also has a rich history in producing NFL players, most notably the late Stephen Air McNair, who just wreaked havoc back in the mid-90s, where Steve McNair was actually a Heisman candidate during this particular time. So what can the Auburn Tigers expect as they welcome Alcorn State out of the SWAC conference into Jordan-Hare Stadium? Well, for one, these guys are going to play very, very hard. These guys are accustomed to winning. These guys are not going to be intimidated by the Auburn Tigers. Of course, they're going to be overmatched. They're going to be out-talented. But you best believe the Alcorn State Braves out of Lorman, Mississippi, are going to really, really bring everything they have to Jordan-Hare Stadium, and are going to come to Jordan-Hare Stadium kind of sort of expecting to win. They have a great quarterback, they have a great system, and they probably will be poised to win yet another SWAC championship this year. So what should Auburn expect, or what should Auburn look for in a particular game like this? Well, number one, without having the advantage of having a spring training, this could be looked at as somewhat of a high-level extra practice game for the Auburn Tigers. No, they should not take Alcorn State for granted, because Alcorn State can move the football. They are very good. They, for the level that they play at, they compete at a high level at their level. So what does Auburn need to do? Number one, coming into a game like this, you have to have a firm strategy to make certain strides accomplishment-wise. This does not need to be a game where Auburn has to struggle to win. The basic things that will help Auburn in Power 5 competition, they need to be able to execute at a high level in a game like Alcorn State. Number one, they have to control the line of scrimmage. Even in the game against Alabama State in 2018, there were times where Alabama State really kind of sort of maintained the line of scrimmage. There was not a lot of levels of dominance. Auburn had to, utilize some turnovers and some trick plays to actually blow that game out. Auburn won over Alabama State 63-9, but the score was not indicative as to how that game really went. There were points where Alabama State really held their own kind of sort of against Auburn. That does not need to be the case against Alcorn State. Dominate the line of scrimmage, dominate on both sides of the line of scrimmage, and be able to execute the types of plays that will be transferable to being executed against a Power 5 team. You don't need a lot of turnovers for scores. You don't need a lot of special teams for scores. You need to have a firm balance of offense executed in a game like this, so you can get some looks as to what things will look like, say, the next week when you play against North Carolina. Because, like I said before, this is a team that is accustomed to winning. Even though they're winning at the FCS level, they are still accustomed to winning, and they're going to give you the best that they have. So this is definitely not a game that Auburn needs to think, okay, we can casually ease into this game, because even though Auburn should win this game by multiple scores, if they don't accomplish the things that they need to accomplish as far as strategy, as far as game planning, as far as execution, it could tell on them down the road. I think this is a very interesting matchup for the Tigers, a game that they should win. But if they don't approach it correctly, it could prove catastrophic for them down the stretch. You don't need a 49-0 win full of turnovers for touchdowns, full of special team scores for touchdowns. You need a firm balance of execution, of a well-based game plan, so that Auburn can utilize a game like this to be beneficial down the road. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast. We're talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like this video. If you feel compelled to do so, subscribe to the channel. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.